what's going on? I go by Fat. I mean, I am Fat, but I go by Fat, formerly known as the Fat Boy from Greensboro, North Carolina, North Side, Summit and Cone, 336. You know what I mean? Got to do all that. But yeah, that's who I am, where I'm from. So like initially my I guess introduction into music was just listening to whatever my dad was listening to. And he had kind of eclectic tastes. Like, well, I'm not even gonna say eclectic. He just had like different tastes. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one that introduced me to Weird Al when I was a kid. We used to listen to like comedy tapes and stuff like that. And Weird Al was one of my favorites early on, and even to this day, just because of the uniqueness. But then even past that, he listened to like a lot of disco, TV show theme songs, not too much country, but there was a couple, in there that he liked. He wasn't really too. He had his go-tos, but he wasn't really too like boxed in as far as what music he listened to, which means I wasn't boxed in as far as what music I listened to. But I feel like outside of even just what he listened to was like, for example, what sticks out in my mind is like taking a band class when I was in like sixth grade. And at the time, that wasn't to expand music knowledge or anything. It was just an elective. It sounded like it was cool. Hey, I could play an instrument. Da, 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 da. So I played trumpet for a semester, I believe it was, and then I played baritone for a semester. It wasn't that long, but it was formative. And I was like 12 years old. And fun fact, the band teacher that I took classes under is actually who taught me how to tie a tie. So that's a whole different experience that don't even have nothing to do with the music. So stuff like that, the music itself, and then the experiences with music, around music, really shaped my opinion of music. And I love it, man. I love it. I might not know how to tie a tie if I didn't take band class. You know what I mean? So what initially got me into rap? Because like rap was at the time, or I guess prior to that, was just, it came on the radio. I liked a couple songs. It was pretty much like everything else. You might have a couple of them in a rotation, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like the mainstream thing to go to. But what made me kind of want to get into rap, one summer I was at my grandma's house and I'm watching TV, and my cousin was into rap. You know what I mean? And he was watching the rap videos, and the Notorious B.I.G. came on the screen. And again, I like the music. You know what I mean? Like the song, it was Biggie Hypnotized. You know what I mean? So like, I like the music. The song is a classic now. You know what I mean? But I saw for the first time somebody that like physically I could more so relate to. You know what I mean? So it was like, yo, you don't gotta be LL Cool J and be muscular, and you know what I mean, to be fly with the ladies, and you ain't gotta be even Heavy D, you know what I mean? He was light skinned, fly, you know what I mean, dap down. Big came out, he had the suits, but he also had on the jeans and the Tims and the hoodies, and it was like, yo, you can be a star, or you can be, you know, make an impact without being a model, basically, you know what I mean? Like this dude is the opposite of everything I had seen on TV up to that point, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And I was 10 years old, and I was like, I want to try it. It wasn't even like, I want to get famous, I want to get rich. I just want to write, I want to try it. I like the rhymes, that sound like it could be fun. So I gave it a shot. And my first song, like I said, I wrote it when I was 10, like fifth grade. And I remember it. It was called African Queen, but I'm gonna keep it real, it was whack. Like to me, at the time it was dope, but to me now thinking back on it, it was whack because it was a 10-year-old's uninformed view of sex. I mean, a bunch of stuff that I didn't know what I was talking about. Um, and very quickly from that, I kind of, because I didn't share it with anybody, but very quickly from that, I kind of got into the authenticity of it all because I started to realize I could write like real stuff. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to write some story. I don't have to be the notorious B.I.G. You know what I mean? I don't have to write about yachts and boats and stuff. I can write about what I'm going through. And as a 10-year old, 11-year old, 12-year old, not many people want to hear that necessarily. You know, oh, you a kid, you don't really got that many problems, and da, da, da. And as a grown man now, I realize I didn't. But when you in it, you feel like you got the weight of the world on you. Oh, I got tests coming up, and teacher get on my nerves, and they was picking on me at school, and stuff that you might want to talk about, but you talking to your parents. It's important to them because it's important to you, but it's not really, something that they're going through. But I didn't share it for the longest. I used to I had songs, excuse me, I had songs that I had written before I even knew what the song structure was, and I'm just writing rhymes back to back until I feel like this is done. But I had written like 200 or 300 of those. I get, you could call them songs now. You know what I mean? Because we done kind of came full circle, and the song is whatever you want it to be. But back then, I probably wouldn't have called them songs. But I had written quite a few of those before I let anybody hear anything ever. So yeah, what's it? Yeah. You gotta cringe though, man. That's part of the process. You gotta cringe. If you don't look back on it and cringe, it means you didn't grow. So, fast forward, I was 15 when I recorded for the first time. That's how long between when I started writing and when I started kind of putting it out there a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm 15. By then, I had a little crew in high school that I was running with, and I was the youngest on the team. And they had done tracks and been in the studio a little bit, but this was my first time, and we went and first of all, this was before everybody and their mama and their grandmama had a studio in the house. You know what I mean? It was really like either I mean, for the most part, you had to know somebody that had a studio and it would be like a real studio, you know what I mean? But um there was one kid at school that, word had got around to us, our little crew or whatever, because we was just kind of rapping, freestyling. Before that, I had recorded I guess my very first time recording was just on the tape player, hitting the record button, and then it had a little built-in microphone on it. But that's a whole nother thing. So that would be my very first foray. But really putting something on wax, having it on a CD to listen to over a beat that wasn't just an instrumental CD. You know what I mean? Would have been 15. And one cat at the school, um, he was a little bit more well off than everybody else, and he had, I don't know if his people had the studio, but he had kind of free use of it. And we went up one day, my first time going in the studio. Summer in the South, it's hot. They had AC, but the room where the microphone was at was like a little storage room or a little attic kind of deal. You know what I mean? It was different, but it was hot because there wasn't no circulation in there. So that's when I learned to kind of get your verse in. Like you can't be in there playing around. You can't keep because I would write it, and I still to this day I'll read it as I'm like I don't memorize it until after I record it. And um, during this time, I realized like if I can't stay in here and keep going over the same verse over and over 10, 12 times. I mean, and I could, but I'd melt and they'd have to pull me out of the booth. You know what I mean? So I learned real quick to get it done quickly. So that was my first time, and I relished it. The song was called "Hostage Situation." More embellishment, mostly because of the crew I was with. We was in that whole that G Unit era. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of what everybody was talking about at the time. So we were just kind of going with the flow, but we wound up doing like a whole 10 or 15 track mixtape by the end of that summer and started kind of letting people around school hear it and started, passing here and there, not really doing too much with it, just letting other people hear it at school and friends and family members and stuff. But that would have been when I first started realizing, like, yo, it's actually like I'm actually got some skills, you know what I mean? Because other people was like, yo, that verse, yo, you killed that, yo, why you ain't trying to do this and the third? You need to try to get a deal, or you need to, you know what I mean? That's when that started to come about, and it was like, okay, maybe I could really, I thought maybe I could do something up until then, but now it was like there's some validation there.
Right. Like you really put in that work and you put in that energy along with being in that hot studio. That will make you want to put in the energy to just like get it out the way, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, like just hearing about just the whole process of that. And also, like you said, you were with a group of people. I feel like that kind of motivates you
It
to want
definitely.
to rap more creatively, I'll say. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of get more into it.
Oh yeah, 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 and for sure. And I feel like looking back on it, I was probably like, in my mind at the time, I was probably like the third or fourth best out of the group. You know what I mean? So I wasn't even like the top tier dude. Like I said, I was the youngest. I was still kind of new. It was definitely my first time recording. So I know what it was. You know what I mean? Everybody liked it. It came out good. It sounded good for what it was. But that was definitely the first time that I had that I felt like I was, hanging with the crew. That I was really, everybody else was nice, but I'm nice too, and we good. So that was, I don't know, that was a very formative period of time. I think I had a good start, starting foundation to wanting to get into music.
Hmm. And so after the mixtape, like, so now I'm curious about the group. So how did you and the group just kind of disperse? Like, did y'all just go off and just do your own thing, be solo artists, or what?
I mean, yeah, so it was high school, so of course, people start parting ways and everything like that. I know the guy that was kind of like the de facto unofficial, head of the group was kind of like my mentor and still is, you know what I mean? Like we still in contact. He still come out to shows and stuff every now and again, and we'll still do tracks and stuff. So, me and him are still cool. Everybody else, we just, you go your separate ways after a little while, especially after high school. Everybody started, and I was in like ninth, 10th grade when they were in like 11th, 12th grade. So, once they moved on and started getting jobs and all that stuff, and I'm still in high school rapping, it kind of, it was different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a good time. It was a formative experience. We had some good times. We had some bad times. There was some infighting, and it was it was a early 2000s hip hop group for sure.
Looking like wearing the big baggy clothes and
Yeah,
stuff, the oversize. Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
Mhm.
and eventually, eventually somebody in the group don't like somebody else, and now they going on wax, and this it was the 2000s.
But so now moving forward a little bit more, with your music, like your solo career, um, like how can I say this? So like what was your official first solo project? Um as oh, and also as Fat. Or did you well, let me back up a little bit. Start with your name
Yeah, we're
first.
going.
Uh so did you always call yourself Fat or Fat Boy when you was with the group? Or did you name yourself that once you started your solo career?
So I've gone through hella names, hella names. The very first name I had was um, Romero,
Mm,
and I don't know where I got that from, but that wound up spinning off into Remy, just Reme,
mm,
and that's actually what most people called me in high school. And then um, my first, I guess, official rap name was Dirty Rascal.
mm.
And Rascal spell Razkal. So definitely early 2000s. And that one, and there was quite a few between that. But then that one turned into just Rascal. And then I think I went to Big Truth after that. TRUTH, too real for you to handle. Um, and then I came to the Fat Boy, and then fat came from kind of more of like the copyright thing because you get the Fat Boys. Like you go to Google, you get the Fat Boys, you get Fat Boy Slim. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of trying to move away from that and differentiate a little bit, separate it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely been a process because I had a bunch in between there. I mean, just between Romero and um Dirty Rascal, there was like Midas Ken and Confucius, and I remember like Tony the Tiger or something in there. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of different crazy names that I was just kind of experimenting with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I wound up landing on the whole fat motif because that was one thing that I was actually always kind of apprehensive about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I'm gonna get on stage and they're gonna be like, "Yo, look at this fat," you know what I mean, or whatever the case may be. And I was like, well, instead of shying away from it and being like, "Oh no, don't call me fat," like I'm a big dude, I'm fat, you know what I mean? Like rock with it, you know what I mean? Somebody might like it, somebody might relate to it. They still gonna clown you either way, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? But at least it has helped because I've definitely had times where somebody be like, "Yo, dude," I ain't gonna say necessarily like verbally to me per se, you know what I mean? But you can definitely tell, like, well, bruh fat. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's clearly, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, you know what I mean? So you just kind of lean into it. That's how I went with it, and it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, when you take pride in just who you naturally are and just brand it, it works for some reason. You don't even have to overthink so many names or brands. And so just do whatever you're naturally are, I guess, you know.
Right. Now, the issue I'm having now is that I've been losing a lot of weight
Mm-hmm.
over the past few years. Like since COVID, I'm down like 60 pounds.
Mm.
So now everybody's like, yo, you can't be the fat boy. You can't be fat if you slim down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like
You're
Fat
gonna be fat
Joe.
boy slim for real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like, I
yeah,
saw a picture of Fat Joe. I'm like, I didn't even know who he was for a second. I was like, whoa, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I'm like, that's kind of like a, I don't even know what the word is for it, but that is kind of the downside of if you name yourself something at one time, then you lose a bunch of weight, or you gain a bunch of weight, and you're like
Right.
skinny slim. I don't know, and then you gain like
Yeah,
300 pounds or something. Like it's like I don't know. But it's interesting though, you know.
yeah.
Man, it's kind of hard to make that work once you lose weight, especially if it's like for health
Right.
purposes. You're trying to be healthy and stuff. I mean, you could just call yourself fat just
Yeah.
to be, you know.
I guess facetious or oxymoronic. You know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah, I come with
You
the
know.
fat lyrics. What?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's strange though. It's definitely a transition. So I'm trying to figure out like what do I want to do? Like I'm still fat currently. Like I'm still a good size to where I can still use the name, but it's definitely a noticeable change, and people are letting me know.
I was about to say husky, but don't even,
That was all right though. That was all right. I hadn't thought about that.
you know.
That's okay.
But look, I love huskies. That's the reason why. And I'm like, there was a post, a meme that I'd seen. It was like, uh, a husky, like a husky man with a husky shirt on, walking his husky. I was like, what in the? But like when you say somebody, oh, they're a little husky, but they ain't fat. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
that's right. That's clever. That's clever. I like that.
big boned. I don't know. Big bone. That sounds kind of. If you use it in a, let me stop coming up with marketing ideas. Uh, but moving back onto the interview. Um. So, where are we at? Okay, so the name. All right. So after you got your name together, how was it recording like your first few projects once you got the name settled and everything like that?
Um, trying to think back to my after the name, because I recorded a lot of stuff prior to that. After the name change, and like I'm gonna be at least the fat boy at that time, and I'm gonna ride that. You know what I mean? The first full project I did was a self-titled album, The Fat Boy. And that's actually the cover art from it right here behind me.
Mhm.
And that was I recorded that one. That was really my first foray into recording myself, like at home. That's when I had. That's when me and everybody and their grandma and their mama had a recording studio in their house by then. So I had gone to quite a few studios. I still go to different studios sometimes, but that was when I decided like I need for productivity's sake and for cost sake, let's keep it real, but mostly for productivity's sake, I definitely needed something that I could if I had an idea when I roll out of bed in the morning, I need to get that in. You know what I mean? I don't need to call and set up a time and now I gotta wait a week and and a bunch of other stuff that came in. Like I want to jump on it. So I was like, let me go ahead and get a little set up. And got my interface and all that and started doing my thing and um started recording. The mix on it ain't so great. Like it's hard for me to listen to. People tell me that there's some tracks on there that they like, but the majority of it for me is tough to listen to because I can hear all the flaws and all the peaks and all the, where I was too far away from the mic or you could some all that stuff. I can hear all that stuff. This was like 2010 by now, by the way. So, um, but I was proud, you know what I mean? Because that was the first time I did copyrights. That was the first time I did digital distribution. That was the first time I did media base. That was the first time, the first time I really took a project seriously and wasn't just kind of like making a mixtape or making an album and just throwing it out there. Like I really was like, let me do this paperwork. Let me try to do it the right way and, follow some of the business tips and all that.
Mhm.
And um, I learned a lot with that album. So even though it's tough for me to listen to, it's still on Spotify. You know what I mean? I left it up because I'm proud of it. Even though it's not my best work to date for me personally, it's just the creation of it and then the learning of everything from it. Like I learned how to record myself. I learned, basics of mixing and um my dad made the cover. I went and got a photo done and then he went and did the logo, the original logo I had, and front back cover. And so then I learned how to get my CDs done and get the covers printed. And then I took that and went out and was posted up in front of the gas stations and stuff and was just trying to sell them to people. And I just learned a lot of the stuff that I know now back then. You know what I mean? About talking to people because I would be on the block with that CD and I'd be like, yo, check out my mixtape. And over time, you learn the pitch instead of just, yo, check out my mixtape. It's like, hey, look, I'm an underground artist. I'm just trying to put, some positivity out there. I know it's a lot of like murder, murder, kill music out there, but, mine ain't really like that. If you give me a chance, check it out. Da, 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 da. I learned to talk and not even just sell, but talk and communicate to people face to face and it all just really helped out. It all just really helped out. So that CD, the Fat Boy, it definitely is exactly what it was supposed to be. Your
Mhm.
first CD. You know what I mean?
Man, and it's something you said you did that back in 2010. I was like, that was the
Yeah,
perfect era for the mixtape era to
it
like get
really
your
was.
name out there as an underground rapper during that time. It was before everybody really knew about digital platforms, like putting their music
Yeah.
out there. So it was like you really looked like you knew what you was doing, and you did. So that was even better.
But I did, you know what I mean? 'Cause like I said, that was my first, so it was really like watching, reading the article. I was about to say watching YouTube videos, but that was actually a little bit before YouTube
Mhm.
became the go-to place. So I'm reading articles and watching whatever I can find to learn stuff. That was a lot of my high school experience when I was with the group. But you know, I I I did a lot of learning before I actually put something out there, and
Mhm.
so I guess it paid off because it did look good. It did look professional. You know what I mean? Some people did buy it. A lot of people. It was still the era where it was tough to get music out. It still is, but um, what was weird though was I was on the scene where I started to see the switch from people wanting the physical copies to man, I can get it on, I don't even got a CD player in the car no more. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I definitely saw the line in the sand when it was coming up. So I had to make some changes.
Yeah, I mean, Look, it is weird how that has drastically changed because my dad, he was a Christian hip hop artist, and so he did his project back in 2006. So I remember him selling CDs and copies, and now people, they could just go on YouTube and listen to the project, or Bandcamp or something. Same thing with my grandfather. He was a gospel artist, so it's like he had cassette tapes. We still got some cassette tapes left over and stuff, and some of the older people in the community still will ask for the cassette tapes, but that is rare,
Yeah,
compared to like everything's on like streaming now. You could just go and listen. It's just, I don't know, it's
don't do
cool,
that.
but it's weird
Yeah.
at the same time. I'm still used to seeing people buy a CD.
I've recently started kind of getting back into that because it seems like more people. I bought my first record um last weekend, my first like vinyl album.
Hmm.
I had never bought vinyl before. I don't even have a record player, but I don't know, man. It's cool. It's just I still enjoy holding the music. You know what I mean? Physically looking at this cover art. You can
Hmm.
turn it over and read the little notes, and you know what I mean? Like that's still tantalizing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Cynthia, even with like the CDs, like when you pull it out, you look at the inside, and what you remember when people would have like a whole poster of themselves in the CD. That was so cool.
Yeah,
Oh my god, man! Like even to this, that's another reason why I like vinyl or CDs is because you are more likely to listen to that entire project as a
project.
whole instead of listening to a song. I was just talking to Illa G about that yesterday. I was like, I'm glad like he has stuff on his own website instead of on streaming like that now, because it makes you more, you want to listen to the project from top to bottom, but it's nothing like those physical copies.
I love it. I love it. And I'm trying to get back into it. It's tough because, like you said, most people, you go to streaming, you don't even really, you put out CDs, but it's more so for like the novelty. You know what I mean? You autograph them and it becomes a merch item. But there's a good chance they're not going to actually spend it, not because they don't want to, but because they're not equipped to. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-mm.
but the same way I bought the record and I don't have any way to listen to it, but I wanted it. I liked it. I got Schoolie D. Am I Black Enough for You?
Oh yeah.
Right. So, I feel like there's still an appeal there. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get back into it. I did some physicals for my last album, The Cook Up, that people enjoyed because I gave them a little nostalgia. I had packaged it was a USB flash drive, but I packaged it in a cassette case.
Mm.
So right, and people like it. You know what I mean? People enjoy it. But I'm seeing that the drawback is the flash drive. A lot of people don't use flash drives for music. You know what I mean? That's not.
Mm.
I think more people still use CDs for music than flash drive. So
Yeah, like CD. There was another rapper I interviewed. He was doing the same thing. Like he was sending out flash drives to people of his mixtape, and or like, cause this was like pretty much like he wasn't putting out on no streaming platforms. He was like, you want to listen to, you got to either purchase the flash drive or like cash at me, and I'll send you the tracks to your email.
yeah,
And I'm just like, that's smart. That way you could still make money, more than like through streaming or whatever. But still, it's hard to get people just to listen to a whole body of project nowadays, though. That's the thing.
yeah.
Like they may get
Especially
something.
as a
Mm-hmm.
especially as an unknown, like when you're not popping, and on everybody's radar, it's tough to get somebody to stop. And there's little tricks to it. Like my projects, I do like 10 tracks, and typically you can listen to the whole project in like 15-20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's good for like a commute or something like that. Like if you can hear the whole song before you get to work if you put it on when you first leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's good for it, but it's not good for like longevity because it's over so quick. You know what I mean? So I have a EP, an album, the Fat Boy album, which is still up there, and then I have a bunch of singles, and then I have another album that's coming out. But like somebody was saying, who was it that said they was giving like a 30-minute set on one of the shows, and I was like, I could perform almost my whole catalog back to back in 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not good for listenability's sake because somebody could digest my entire catalog 30, 45 minutes and now they moving on to the next, you know what I mean? So it's a balance. It's a weird balance you gotta find.
Right. I feel like eventually everything is gonna revert back to the way how it started off because I was just talking to a producer last night about like live music. I was like, this is why like live music I feel like is eventually gonna come back around because people we're too dependent on digital stuff. And I feel and
Yeah.
it's getting easier to make music to where people they're gonna appreciate live musicians and stuff really knowing music theory and stuff again. And I feel it's gonna be the same thing with digesting a project as a whole, knowing that artist took out
Mhm.
the time, the money, all that stuff, poured their heart into a project. And I feel like eventually it is gonna get to a point where people are gonna want to listen to a project from top to bottom. It's just right now we're just in a weird warp of time where music is just like for people with short attention spans and people that just want to like be famous overnight and not really like take out time and make music from scratch and stuff. So it's just
Right.
weird.
Right.
It's a weird warp we're in right now, you know.
There's a lot of buzz amongst the creator community about all of that. You know what I mean? I saw one post. I was on Threads. I just got on Threads for the first time the other day,
Mhm.
and I saw one post that was like, "What are you gonna do when AI gets good enough to where they can like mimic not just voices, but like inflections and emotion. Like it's not actually there. They don't have a soul, of course, but you can kind of mimic that stuff. Then
Mhm.
what an artist's gonna do, and I feel like that's when human artists become more, artisanal. You know what I mean? More traditional, where it's like I feel like as long as there's humans, there's gonna be people that enjoy human music. Now it might be smaller scale because you can't produce as much as AI can in the split second,
Mhm.
but I think that's going to aid humanity, like human producers and human creators. I think that's going to aid them because it's like, yeah, I could get 10,000 movies featuring my favorite actor that I prompted in the whole storyline and the script and everything anytime I want to. But sometimes it's nice to just get something that somebody put time, effort, energy, soul, creativity, part of their life into. You know what I mean? I think it'll always have a place.
Right. Like I said, I feel like people they're gonna appreciate it more because we're gonna get so used to like AI and digital stuff and technology to where it's like when a human actually does something from scratch, we're gonna be like, I like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
It's like
mhm.
you could go to the grocery store and buy a loaf of bread. But when somebody like I know how to make bread from scratch. Oh, word! You can make I mean like you can whip up the dough and everything and just make a loaf of bread right now. Like that's different. You know what I mean? It's still valuable. You
Yeah,
might not need it every day, but that's still like, oh wow, you got a real skill there.
that's wild that you brought that up because I just was looking at a video this morning on how to make bread. Because I'm like, too much of this bread in the stores is it's like it's too inflammatory. I'm about to start making my own bread.
Right,
That's wild though.
right.
But yeah, eventually, like you said, even with food, it's gonna be like that too. Like everything's so processed now and stuff. Even like the vegetables. That's why like a lot of us are like trying to grow our own gardens, everything now. But
And I think
mhm.
that's really what it's gonna come back to. It's gonna come back to the craft of it because it's gonna be kind of necessary. You know what I mean? Like with food. It's like that with music. It's like that with movies. You know, you can go watch another MCU Marvel movie where they got mind blowing special effects and you know what I mean? But I'm to the point now I want to see a complete unknown, with some practical effects. You know what I mean? It's Ben Affleck is cool and Robert Downey Jr. They cool, you know what I mean. But I'm ready to see somebody new that we ain't never heard of that's gonna come and just do a good performance. It's not we got this big star that costs $1 million. We got this dude you never heard of, and he is absolutely or she is absolutely crushing the role. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Like low key, that's what Tubi is all about. Tubi is like the spot.
Yes.
You know, I know a lot of people make fun of it, but some of them independent films on Tubi are actually pretty good. I spent some time while I was sick just like looking at these Tubi movies, like independent movies. I'm like, some of these are actually pretty good, and the storylines are pretty good, and then others are absolutely terrible and shot terribly. Um, but it's I'm like it makes you appreciate the art more.
Hmm. And the effort, like, because even the bad ones, it's like they tried it, they got their cameras and they wrote their script, and maybe the next one will be better, or maybe the one after that will be better, or you know what I mean? But either way, I like to see people trying, especially this day and age when you can easily just give up and fall into whatever 9 to 5 and just that's it. You know what I mean? So anybody that's like, I'm trying to do something, even if it's just a hobby, just so you can take your mind off of the rat race or whatever you call it, even if that's what you got and that's what you're doing, like I respect that. It's too easy to do nothing. So somebody that's doing something, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I got love.
And but yeah, I'm sorry we got so off topic, but I love just like sitting down just talking. I just be coming up with the questions on top of my head. I got the general questions in my head, but also be like just getting off track for just conversation purposes. Uh, but
Oh yeah.
uh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So how many projects total do you have? Like just like even including the ones you did like with your group, and then on up
Oh
till
man.
today.
So like with the group, we did like that one mixtape and then maybe like some other little singles. Nothing. We wasn't really. I guess we kind of thought we was serious, maybe a little bit, but we wasn't really. We was just high school kids playing around in the studio. We had some dope tracks and people liked them, and we passed out some CDs and we had our Walkmans and let people listen and stuff. So I mean, it was cool, but that was the one project we really did. And then after that, um, I know I had like a Go Green mixtape series. That was like two or three, and I had um Meal Ticket was a mixtape. I did a lot of mixtapes. Meal Ticket, Food Fight. I said Go Green. I had my album as Big Truth that was called Dope. Um, and then the ones now, the Fat Boy album, Falcon Heavy is the one EP that I have. The Cook Up was the album from last year. I'm working on an album this year called It Could All Be So Simple. It's coming in July.
Mhm.
A lot of those older projects, though, like the mixtapes, aren't available online. There, you can't really find them. Like I have them on hard drives and stuff around here somewhere.
Mhm.
um, Semi-Automatic Life. That would have been my first. I forgot about that one. That would have been my first project. That's actually the first project. That came before the Fat Boy. That was my first like solo project. I've done a lot of music, because then I was also doing features for other people on their projects, and you know, I've done a lot of music, but
Mhm.
just naming those, that's 10 plus easy.
Yeah. Jeez. Oh my goodness. That's like you're putting in the work. Been putting in the work. And
Yeah.
speaking of that, like, are you working on any? Well, you just said you, but any other features, new projects? And I see you got like a tour coming up as well.
We did the first jam back in March, and it was lit. You know what I mean? We had people come through. We had some food catered by Kingston Vibes and I did like a little house show.
Mhm.
A lot of fun. But the main thing was the virtual stream. And I think people really enjoyed it. I got a tour for It Could All Be So Simple. It's the It Could All Be So Simple tour. Um, we did New Jersey was the first kickoff in April. Um, Shout out Hood Hibachi. Bunch of Greensboro shows because that's the area I'm in and from, and I love performing around the area. And then there's plenty of singles for you to check out, and then It Could All Be So Simple. So the work is being put in.
Yes, for sure. And also for people to see your work or keep up with you, please share your social platforms and music platforms, website, everything.
Oh yeah, easy. I'm the fatboy.com. That's really where you can start and find everything. I know I've had people with there being so many moving parts and so much going on at one time. I've had people tell me that it's hard to keep up and some stuff overlaps and they it's just stuff overlaps. They thought it was this show, but it was actually that show, and they thought this was the project that was out, but this is actually what's coming because it all comes kind of quick.
Hmm.
And if you go to imthefatboy.com, subscribe to imthefatboy.com. I've been trying to do like a newsletter at the top of each month to kind of give you a rundown of what's going on now, versus just everything all at the same time. So go to imthefatboy.com, subscribe, scroll through there, everything that I got coming up, everything that I got going on, the new music, everything is all there. So you ain't got to go around hunting around. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, I have not been pushing Spotify and all that lately. I'm on there, for the people that want to listen, but I am definitely trying to get more direct. So come to imthefatboy.com, listen to the music. I'm gonna try to have. I know Delusions of Grandeur is a free download. You can get the whole mixtape for free. Download it to your personal device. Take it with you wherever you go. If Spotify shut down tomorrow, you'll still have it. And I'm trying to do more stuff like that. So come down to fatboy.com. And then if you want to get to my socials, you can just go to the contact page. I got links to, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. So you can still get me on all of those. But I'm the fatboy.com.
Cool. And any words of wisdom you would like to leave with the audience?
Um, just really a lot of the ones that I rehash a lot of the time. Keep doing you, somebody feel it. Basically meaning don't switch up. Like I know everybody not gonna feel it. And sometimes it might feel like nobody feels it. But there is somebody out there that might even be a silent player that's rooting for you that really likes what you have going on, that really likes what they see from you. They might not be the most vocal, but keep doing you. Somebody will come forward and enjoy what you have. Keep messing up until you stop messing up. That's how you get good. That's one that I've been using this year because I've been trying a lot of new stuff, and some of it don't come out the best. You know what I mean? But you don't get good at it by just saying I ain't gonna do it no more. I'm done. Keep trying. You know what I mean? Don't take life too seriously. Nobody makes it out alive anyway. That's one that I live by. You're gonna die, homie. You know what I mean?
Like I always say,
So
don't you feel better when you know you're gonna die? All of us could be dead.
right, you know what I mean? But you here now, so make the best of it. It don't all gotta be the 9 to 5 grind. If you got ideas and dreams and goals and fantasies, man, go for that shit. Because they're gonna talk about you either way. You're still gonna have to go to work. That's just the reality of life. You're still gonna have to make money to feed and clothe and shelter yourself. That's just how the system works. But at least you can have something to kind of mitigate that, something to kind of offset that, to where you can come home and enjoy being there and enjoy not being at work and enjoy, the things that you like to do and that you value personally.
Mhm.
Um, those are like my top three that I kind of live by. But I encourage people to fulfill themselves within reason. You know what I mean? Again, there are rules, there are regulations, there are expectations, but make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're enjoying yourself. Make sure that you do the work. But then when the work is done, you take time to play Uno with your son or go to the beach or take a nap or you know what I mean? Work on your music or paint, draw, dance, go for a walk, climb a tree, you know what I mean? Cut the lawn. Like I've been trying to be more intentional with the real world lately. Like you said, there's a lot of digital. It's so easy to fall into scrolling for 2 hours. And I did it last night. I was supposed to be working on something and wound up looking at the clock and an hour had went by and all I did was scroll Instagram and I'm like, nah, we gotta live real life at some point.
Like
But
turn
real
all
life don't have to suffer.
Yeah, I was like, turn all
Yeah.
the notifications on. I don't even have my notifications on with Instagram because I get easily distracted. Like, I just get on there whenever I feel like it, and like, I just keep all my notifications off with social media except YouTube.
Yeah.
Everything else got to stay off, you know?
I I have all my social media notifications off. I don't get if I get a notification, I have Messenger. Messenger is like the only one that I have that comes, but I don't have Instagram notifications, TikTok notifications, YouTube notifications. You know what I mean? I'm very once I get off the platform, I try not to get drawn back because I know with the notifications on, you done left a comment and you put the phone down and then the phone vibrate and you go to look and you look and see that such and such don't respond to the comment and now you in a debate over, you know, homelessness in America or something like that. And
Right.
you supposed to be cooking dinner or cleaning up, it's too easy. So I done turned off all the notifications. My phone lives on silent anyway. I
Yeah,
definitely get
you gotta
offended
make
when my
sure.
phone, if my right. So I try not to get, and I get into it too much sometimes. I do. I think we all do at times. There's times where you done wasted so much time just scrolling and commenting and liking. But I feel like as long as you're trying to spend some time in the real world, like I've been encouraging people lately, when you waiting in line somewhere, put your phone in your pocket. Just be in line. It's boring. It's long. Everybody else gonna be in their phone. The music playing is whack. It's so slow and it's terrible, but that's part of life, man. I feel read the back of the ingredients
Mm-hmm.
on the cereal box. You know what I mean? Take a newspaper with you in the toilet. Like I don't know, man. Just I don't
Enjoy
know. Be
people
being real.
watching. That's my grandma used to
Yeah.
do. Like, and as I'm getting older, I'm starting to do it where I'm like, I'll be out and about and just be like enjoying just looking at people socializing or people on their phones or people with their dogs out at the park or something, just and getting fresh air and just enjoying just being out of the house, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but that was the entire interview. Wow, we got a good time until we're at 57 minutes. That's a nice lengthy interview. I ain't gonna lie. During the interview,
I'm agree.
huh?
It's good for me because the last I want to say like two or three interviews I did wound up being like 2 hours long because it's so easy, for me to get to talking. I find that I don't know. I'm a good listener. I'm a good talker. Like the communication flows really easily. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And especially when I get someone that has an appreciation for their craft, and it's not just the same old regular questions, and you kind of stay in that little box. That's when those go by pretty quick. But when it's a good talk and good conversation, and people just talking about whatever pops up, that's when you got a real good interview. So,
Yeah, I try to
mine
mix.
turned into 2 hours.
Like, see, I don't want to be too out because this is more editing I got to do, and the longer it takes for the
Hmm.
stuff to get out,
Hmm.
like literally, Descendant. Our interview was like an hour and 20 something minutes long. I had to cut it down a little bit, but I was like, I need to like work on like minimizing the interviews to at least an hour. 45 minutes to 35 minutes at the least, but at the most like an hour. So we are good timing. Still got a good conversation there. I love just like connecting with the people I'm interviewing. I like to get a good conversation there.
Right. Yeah, this was good. I appreciate the time and the energy and the platform. You know what I mean?
Yo,
You're definitely doing your thing.
thank you for being a part of it. I'm so sorry again that I forgot last time. Like I went to a basketball game and everything. I'm like, oh snap! I was supposed to do it. Oh my god. So sorry about that. This is why like I gotta do like if I plan to do something, I gotta do it like right away, or I will get
Mhm.
caught up in like work and everything else and forget. So I gotta do stuff like that same week, or like I will forget. So
I use my calendar a lot. Like my calendar keeps me on track because there's been so many times where I'll completely forget something's going on, and I'll get off work, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna make this for dinner, and I'm gonna throw this on, and I'm gonna chill for the first time this week and just kick back. And then my alarm go off, and I'm like, what's that? And I got an interview or something I'm supposed to be doing that I have forgot about, and I'm like, okay, let's get it done.
like
So
lately, I've been using my reminders because like my calendar, I'll like write something on my calendar and complete and just walk right past it, forget about it, or either it'll be in my phone and I still forget about it. So it's like I gotta have it in my reminders to remind me the day before, or either remind me hourly. So I'm like, okay, okay, I remember, I got this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, thank you again for being a part of this. This was a fun interview though. Oh man, we talked about some dope stuff. Oh
Oh yeah,
man, I forgot to have you plug your merch too. Dang it, I already stopped recording. Oh wait, oh
it's
wait, I
cool.
am recording. Okay, I'm still recording. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if you would just want to plug your merch, I'm not gonna be on camera since the light just went out. But yeah.
While you checking out I'mTheFatBoy.com, check out my merch. Definitely, I got hoodies, dope in real life, designed by me. I got the dad caps with the logo on there. My most popular is the Heartbreak line. I drew that digital art, and it's good for men, women, broken-hearted people that are healing on the rebound, all that good stuff. Man, it's love incarnate. So check it out. I'mTheFatBoy.com/shop. You can find music and stuff there too. So yeah, check me out.